Even if his face was all battered and bruised up, Kevin Belingon still had a massive smile on his face as he greeted the fans and friends that were waiting for him at the lobby of the Mercure Bugis Hotel in Singapore. The 31-year-old Ifugao-native had just survived a 5-round bout against one of the most dangerous submission grapplers in the world and the very man that is heralded as the most dominant champion in ONE Championship history. In fact, Belingon did more than just survive. He won. Belingon defeated Bibiano Fernandes via split decision in the main event of ONE Heart of the Lion in Singapore last November 9. It was a rematch of their 2016 encounter that saw Fernandes defeat Belingon via submission in the first round. It was the first time in 5 years that the ONE Bantamweight World Championship had changed hands, and it was the first time in 14 fights that Fernandes had absorbed defeat. For Belingon, the hard-fought win was the culmination of a 2-year journey back to the championship scene, which began when he lost to Fernandes the first time around. What means more is up for discussion, but the important thing is, Belingon got his revenge, and how he's the undisputed champion. Siempre Masaya ako kasi nakabawi ako sa unang pagkatalo ko sa kanya, tapos ito, parang mas lumaki pa yung achievements ko, so masayang masaya talaga ako na natalo ko si Bibi, tapos parang even na kami, Belingon said as he tried to relax in his hotel room. There wasn't too much space on his bed, as he was sharing it with his 2 ONE World Championship belts. Ngayon may pairs nasiya, the champ said jokingly. Baguio Jiu-Jitsu. What was most impeccable about Belingon's performance against Fernandes was that he had shown an exponential improvement in his submission defense, certainly a far cry from how he managed back in 2016, when his doom came in the form of a Fernandes-applied kimura in the first round. This time around, Belingon survived and defended at least 3 submission attempts, which would have been unthinkable against a fighter the caliber of Fernandes. Baguio Jiu-Jitsu had claimed its latest and most high-profile victim in Fernandes. Aside from the World Championship and a measure of revenge, Belingon also feels a strong sense of satisfaction knowing that he was able to hold his own against one of the best in the world on the mats. Very satisfied ako kasi nga black belt siya sa jiu-jitsu, tapos natapensahan ko yung attempts niya, he said with a grin. Ayan pa lang, yung pag-escape ko sa armbar, very satisfied na ako, kasi kahit hindi ko man ma-submit si Bibiano, at least na-escapean ko yung mga attempts niya. While it's quite unclear who coined the term Baguio Jiu-Jitsu, it began simply as a humorous play on words, but has since become a sort of mantra for the boys over at Team Lackey. Baguio Jiu-Jitsu might as well be the term used for the dedication and the marked improvement that these boys from Baguio have shown in their most recent conquests, and Belingon is just the latest use it to win a championship. Back in late 2016, Edward Falayang stunned the world when he survived and knocked out of Japanese submission machine named Shinya Aoki to become the new ONE Lightweight World Champion. In 2018, against a pair of former champions and world-class grapplers in Khalid Akhmatov and Adriano Moriz, Ifugao used his Baguio Jiu-Jitsu to first become an interim world champion and then later on become the undisputed ONE Flyweight World Champion. Much like Belingon, Joshua Pasio lost his first opportunity at a world championship against Japanese grappler Yoshitaka Naito by submission, but after focusing on his ground game in training, Pasio managed to stifle Naito's attempts in their world title rematch, resulting in a ONE Strawweight World Championship win for the young Filipino. Ifugao said it best after his win over Moriz, "Please don't underestimate our BJJ, or what we call Baguio Jiu-Jitsu. In more time, we will submit you guys. Home of champions. It's hard not to be motivated to excel, especially when you train alongside a who's who of champions over at Team Lac and La Trinidad, Benguet. Currently, there are 5 members of Team Lac who have gone on to capture an undisputed ONE World Championship, with Belingon being the latest. He follows in the footsteps of Hilario Benario, Falayang, Eustaquio, and Pacio. The silencer shared that his team's success was a source of motivation, more than anything. Simper nung nakuha nila young title nila samgag division nila, mas najing challenge pa sadakin na makuha young undisputed belt kaya young nag challenge sadakin na mag train pa ng husto para makuha itong belt na tu. Before the end of the year, Team Lac has the chance to bring home another championship, as Falayang will try to become a 2-time ONE World Champion when he meets Singaporean Amir Khan for the vacant ONE Lightweight World Championship in Manila on November 23. No longer just a contender. Before entering the cage for the rematch against Fernandes, Belingon was already a world champion. It was a feat he accomplished after defeating former 2-division world champion Martin Guyan in Manila. But even then, even after becoming a world champion for the first time, Belingon knew that there was an even bigger prize at hand, and that was a chance at the undisputed title. Nearly 5 months later, Belingon was finally an undisputed champion. No longer was he just a contender, and no longer was he the interim champion. Young interim Kasi, Parang temporary. Kumbaga temporary title, Tapos Itong undisputed, Ito na tu. Ito na young Totung title, Kaya Masayang Masaya Ako Kasi nakuha ko young interim Tapos na prove ko pa na kaya kong nakuha young undisputed belt, he said with a sense of pride. Just the beginning. For the first time in what appears to be years, Belingon is finally going to get a bit of rest, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and probably spiritually. For the first time in his career, Belingon isn't chazzing after anything. Now, he's the one that's going to be chazzed, and that's something he knows that he needs to prepare for as well. For the last few years, Belingon has been fueled by the desire to become a champion. Now that he's achieved his goal, the next challenge for him is to remain champion. Same parang young minsit nung hindi pa ako champion, he claimed. Ngayong nakuha ko na ito, kalangan naman depensahin, yun yung isang parang next na goal ko, kalangan I depensa para manatili young title sa akin. It has been a while since Belingon looked like he went through a war, and that's because he did. It took over 2 years for Belingon to get back on this stage, and if you ask the man himself, a swollen foot, a busted lip, and a few bumps and bruises is a small price to pay if it means coming out with gold around the waist. Belingon's journey back to the title was long and challenging, but it's over. Now begins his journey to becoming the best ever begins.